So, what is a healing reaction? This is one of the most commonly asked questions by new patients, and it's one of the most important ones that we get very clear up at the beginning so that the patient can know what to expect as they're taking the homeopathic remedies and going through the process of their treatment. So, a well known expression captures the idea of a healing reaction very well, and that is the saying, better out than in. So in terms of what we're doing in the treatment process, of course, that's applying to the idea of the diseases that we are addressing. We want to get rid of them, get them out. So what is a healing reaction? Well, the healing reaction is one of two components or one of two phases of the homeopathic remedy. The first phase is what we call the initial action, and then the second phase is what's called the healing reaction. So I compare this with a slingshot analogy in terms of the initial action of the remedy being like when the shot is initially released, when the rubber band is released and that shot is hurling off into the air. The second action is more what we're focusing on here is the idea of the healing reaction, and that's where there's initially a kind of a reverberation going on in the rubber band after that shot is released, and then gradually it comes back into its natural state and its natural position. So or coming back to rest. In terms of health, what we call that coming back to rest is kind of a state of homeostasis or a state of balance. So that is to say, the action of the remedy will cause a temporary disturbance as it's getting rid of the disease, but then it comes back into a state of rest, or in this case, it comes to an even better state of health than it was before because that disease is no longer there. So what kind of things at a practical level can a healing reaction feel like or look like? So the general concept of the healing reaction is that of a discharge, or a more of a centrifugal action where the forces are kind of pushing things to the outside. So if you think of what's going on in the spin cycle of the washing machine, while it's very quickly spinning around, the clothes are pushed to the outside of the washing tub barrel. And if you think of that kind of image, that kind of feeling of the forces pushing out, that's what's going on in a healing reaction. So the, the byproduct of that is we get various kinds of discharges coming out during a healing reaction. So that may be different physical discharges, such as a runny nose or a cough or frequent bowel movements, a rash that comes out on the skin, things like that. Or at the mental and emotional level, there may be different kinds of emotional discharges, such as irritability, or the discharge of tears from sadness, or there may just be a general drive or an urge to be more talkative, to communicate certain realizations or observations that are coming out of that healing reaction. And a really key question that we really want to make clear for the new patient is that how to tell the difference between a healing reaction from a remedy versus the natural disease process as it works through the body in its own way. So where the disease process is kind of ongoing, it kind of comes and goes in different waves, and it's kind of always eating away at the living functions in the body. The healing reaction is very temporary. Usually it's somewhere between a matter of minutes and hours. Sometimes it goes into a number of days, but very, very temporary in one way or another. And generally, the healing reaction is relatively mild. Now, in some cases, there can be a more intensive healing reaction. And when this happens, it is sometimes necessary for the patient to get back in touch with the clinic so that we can assess what exactly is needed in terms of properly supporting that healing reaction and helping to discharge it more smoothly and more comfortably. And the other main difference between the healing reaction and a disease or a disease flare-up sometimes is that the disease flare-up doesn't resolve anything, whereas the healing reaction, when it's completed, there's in one form or another, there's a measurable greater sense of health. That could be in terms of just the core feeling of the patient just feeling better within themselves, or certain symptoms are now permanently gone, or there's some measurable improvement as far as the overall quality and the feeling of their health.